Good morning, everybody. On behalf of Dearborn Public Schools, myself, and countless of other students across the nation, I thank you all for attending tonight's event. As many of you know, on Tuesday, November 30th, a student at Oxford High School opened fire against his fellow peers and building staff members. Tragically, 4 students were killed, with dozens more left mentally and physically injured. As a result of this, students across the nation are left plagued, wondering when the next school shooting will occur and if they will be the victims. Today, we are here to honor the lives of Tate Meir, Hannah St. Juliana, Madison Baldwin, and Justin Schilling, and to stand in solidarity with all those affected by the shooting. I'd now like to invite my peers from Dearborn High School, Zainab Hamud, Nora Shamis, and Dina Ali.
Good evening, Dearborn. Oh my God. Okay. Thank you for joining us tonight. As you are all aware, a shooting took place last week at Oxford High in which 11 students were harmed physically, 4 pronounced dead, and a countless number of students around the nation harmed mentally.
We are gathered here to commemorate those who devastatingly did not survive: Madison Baldwin, Tate Meir, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling.
Their lives were taken far too soon, leaving families torn apart and causing angst among our community.
We believe that it's not only necessary to shed light upon the situation, but to also advocate for change to eliminate the burden of fear put on us students every day.
Hello, my name is Dina Ali, and I'm from Dearborn High School. 1764, America's first tragic school shooting. After several decades, we are gathered here, all standing together and mourning the losses of more souls who were gone way too soon by yet again a school shooting. Several school shootings all happening in a nation where we are proud to call ours and where education is number one. Not only is school meant to be an education place and meant to be a safe place for us kids. That's what we are taught. Madison Baldwin, a 17-year-old girl. Tate Meir, a beautiful and caring 16-year-old who is only starting to achieve his dreams. Justin Schilling, a 17-year-old with the brightest soul. And Hannah St. Juliana, a 14-year-old who only has started to achieve her greatest dreams. On Tuesday, November 30th, Oxford students went to school expecting a normal day. Instead, they went through the darkest times, and some were shot in the middle of their so-called safe campus. In about 5 minutes, 30 shots were fired, wounding 8 and killing 4. Not only did the 2,000 students' life change forever, it was people around them, their teachers, families, friends, and the state. Parents, my heart goes out to you. You send your kids every single day to school to get an education that you work so hard for. Students, you are sent to learn. Without the constant worry of losing your life, and to wonder which exit we should run out of, which corner we should hide in, if we can run and make it out before one of us gets shot. We truly appreciate our community getting together as one to stand together with the victims who endured this horrible experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora, Zane, and Dina. Next up, I'd like to introduce Dearborn School's Superintendent, Dr. Glenn Malacco, to say a few words.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone, on this cold night. Thank you so much for coming out to show support for Oxford. I do want to mention just a few. I know Kareem is going to mention some of the dignitaries here, but I want to mention our board trustees. We have Trustee Petlichkoff, Trustee Watts, Trustee Mosip, and I saw Trustee McDonald, and I'm not sure if there's any other trustees here, but they may be on their way from a Dearborn High event as well. Appreciate their support, and I know former Trustee Fedor Hamud, who's here as Solicitor General. We always mention our former trustees too, and I know she'll be speaking later. I want to thank the City of Dearborn, the Dearborn Recreation Department, and the Chief Haddad, of course, and the Dearborn Police for their assistance in hosting this event on this cold day. I want to especially commend all the students here for putting this together. I got to tell you something, they're part of the Student Advisory Council, and when the situation was occurring, right away, we're on this WhatsApp chat, and you should see the positive dialogue with the students, and they really do give me hope. I'd like to give them a big round of applause, actually, right now. And I know our sponsor for our group is Dr. Sweden. She's somewhere here as well, so I do want to mention that. On behalf of the Board of Education and the entire Dearborn Schools community, I would like to extend our heartfelt condolences to the families of Hannah St. Juliana, Justin Schilling, Tate Meyer, and Madison Baldwin. Our prayers go out to them and to the families of the 7 other victims of the November 30th tragedy at Oxford High School. Here we stand, gathered together on a cold December night. Students, educators, elected officials, parents, neighbors, and friends. Labels aside, what this night is really about is standing together as one community. One community gathered to show our support for one another. The Oxford community. It is not just those who suffered the physical wounds who need our support, but all those in Oxford who have suffered a great emotional wound. 45 miles physically separates our 2 cities. We gather here tonight to spiritually bridge that distance. We bridge that distance with our hearts filled with sorrow for the families of all the victims. We bridge that distance with our minds filled with the memories of Hannah, Justin, Tate, and Madison. We bridge that distance with our souls filled with compassion and love for the people who will forever feel the devastating emotional toll this horrific event has left on their community. It is not uncommon to ask why. Why here? Why now? Why us? Some of those questions will be answered in the weeks and months ahead, but we will never be able to make sense of such a senseless, violent act. There is no way for us to comprehend what such tragedy occurs, but we can work towards healing, not forgetting, but healing. Taking that next step is never easy. Fear, anxiety, and our own sense of vulnerability can prevent us from moving forward, but together we can move beyond the shock that paralyzes us all. This candlelight vigil is just one small step in that process, a way for us to remember, a way for us to let the healing begin. We can start by quieting our hearts, calming our fears, and comforting our children. Just as we used our own minds to bridge the spiritual divide between our 2 cities, let us call upon our inner strength to bridge that emotional divide between our own fears and the actions we all need to take that will make our world a safer place for all. After reading about the 4 Oxford High School students who died last week, it was obvious they were uniquely different, but all were full of life and hope. Let us honor their memory by keeping that hope alive in all that we do. Tonight, standing here united, differences aside, shows others how we, too, are going to stand Oxford strong and moving toward that healing process and honoring the memory of those who are no longer with us. Thank you, and may God bless and keep us all safe.
Thank you, Dr. Malacco. Next up, I'd like to introduce Dearborn Public Schools Board of Education Trustee, Irene Watts.
Good evening, all. I'm here to speak to all the students here in Dearborn and across the state. When I was younger, I was extremely shy. Never would I have thought that I would have been here at this podium. But that shyness turned into something different when I met someone in high school. He was a counselor, and his name was Carlo Sorrentino. And whenever I had any issues at home, granted they were tiny, but at that time they seemed enormous, I always knew that I could go to him, whether it was in the middle of a class time period, before school or after school. and he would always listen. And that listening turned into knowing that I had somebody that was an adult that I could trust. And so I say to all of you students here, have that person in your life in school. Take that time now and think of who is that one adult in your school building that no matter what you can go to, they'll lend an ear. We all need to have that one trusted adult beside our parents who can listen to what we have to say. And in those times, those are our helpers. So I leave you with that. And if you don't have that one person, that should be your goal. We all need one, and we all deserve one. And I know the adults in your buildings are there to help you. So please, going forward, find the helper. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Trustee Watts. Next up, from Oxford High School, I'd like to introduce Mariam Al-Sagir.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mariam Al-Sagir, and I'm a junior at Oxford High School. Columbine, Virginia Tech, Sandy Hook, Stoneman Douglas. These are a few of the most recognized school shootings, and now Oxford High School. Over the years, we have witnessed dozens upon dozens of school shootings in America take place. Tonight, we gather to stand in solidarity with the Oxford High School victims' families, with the Oxford community, and with every student and their family in the nation who feel the fear and agony due to this horrendous crime. How do my peers and I feel today at school? Fearful, unsafe, and unprotected. We know that the school is trying to take the measures to protect us, but we also know that this is not subsiding our fear. We are anxious about the next school shooting. Will it be here? Will it be us? Will I be the next victim? Where do I hide? Which door will be our escape? We spend more time with our teachers and peers than we do with our own parents. School is our home, but how can we call it home if it doesn't feel safe? After witnessing the ongoing threats and school shutdowns over the past week, how can we not call for action? How can we not do what makes kids safe? How can we not raise a debate over guns to the level that it should be? We only have questions. We don't have answers. I hope that the society that is failing us would feel guilty, and I hope that this guilt would lead to action. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mariam. Next up, I'd like to introduce Solicitor General Fedor Hamud to say a few words.
Good evening. How does one follow Mariam? First, I want to say thank you to the students for organizing this. I am so inspired by your bravery and the way you're voicing your outrage and sadness after this tragedy. This vigil is not a show of solidarity for Oxford only. It's not just that. It's a show of strength. And it's a preview of the change that is coming. Because you, the students, are the future leaders. By organizing this, you are sending the message that the future leaders of this country, even as we mourn a horrific tragedy, refuse to accept these tragedies as normal. We as public officials need to be brave enough to follow your lead and be the agents of change you want us to be. We need to hold your pain and your experiences close to us as we think of policies and legislation that address our collective problems. Because as high school students, you know better than anyone what it's like to live with the fear of school shootings. What it's like to see people your age go to school and never go back home. You've thought about things that no student in this country should ever have to think about in a classroom. No one in our society should have to live with that fear. No one in our society should have to learn in that fear. And the right to use a weapon is not more sacred than your right to learn in peace. If leadership is about standing firm in your values, no matter the uncertainty ahead, then this gathering is a true model for leadership. Your initiative today is all the proof I need, we need, that change is coming. So thank you for your courage. Thank you for leading by example. Thank you for being a light that shows us what a more just, safe, and free society can look like. So from Dearborn to Oxford and beyond, we're all truly in this together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, I'd like to introduce Council President Suzanne de Baja.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Mayor O'Reilly and the City of Dearborn, I'd like to offer our most sincerest, heartfelt condolences to all those that have been affected by the tragedy that happened about 10 days ago. Usually when I'm at an event and asked to speak, I like to prepare a speech. But with this one, I felt I had to speak from the heart. And I will tell you, my heart spoke already, and that's Millennia. What she had to say today hit everything that we should be thinking about. You know, I can speak as your council president, but I'm going to speak as a parent. When you send your child to school, you don't have to think twice of whether or not they're going to be safe. When you're an educator going to teach our children, you shouldn't be thinking twice of whether or not you're going to evening. And when you're a police officer in our city, you shouldn't have to make several trips on a daily basis to our schools because there's a serious concern that there may be another tragedy that occurs. We need to do something. It's not enough to hold a vigil, which is very important. It's not enough to hold press conferences. And I know what our Solicitor General here, her words were right on point. And I know you can't get political, but I can. I think it's time to demand that our state and federal legislatures do what they need to do to make sure our schools are safe. There should be no question that when we send our child to school, we don't have any doubts of what's going on there other than education. So in my heart, it aches and it breaks for those parents that had their children lose their lives. No parent should ever get that phone call. No parent should ever receive a phone call telling them that I'm scared, Mom, our school is on lockdown, and I don't know what to do. When Mariam was saying, I have to think about where do I hide, where do I go, I think about my generation didn't have to deal with that. This is the new age that this generation, in addition to the numerous other things that they have to deal with, that is just not acceptable. So as adults, I think we have to really look it dead in the eye and be not afraid to speak up, not afraid to get political. It's time that we do what needs to be done, and I hope more people will be involved. And lastly, I do want to thank all the students that put this together. I do want to say this vigil is so important because it brings healing and it allows us to remember what Dr. Malacco said. We have to calm our hearts. Over the last 10 days, there's been a lot of anxiety and unfortunately even pranks that have put our school system on edge. So I'm going to ask the students that are here today and that are listening through social media, if you see a fellow student struggling, or you sense something, or you feel like there's something that just raises a red flag, please speak up. Your school system has set up an anonymous tip line. Please use it. Don't be afraid. This is not the time to stay quiet. Red flags were raised in Oxford, and if people had acted on it, we would not be standing here today. So remember that. And again, my sincerest condolences to all those. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, from Fortin High School, I'd like to introduce Noor.
Good evening. My name is Noor Hassan and I attend Fortin High School. We all are here to remember the lives of those who were stolen from us far too soon. This is a tragedy that will forever touch the hearts of many. Today we will commemorate the lives of those who were stolen from us far too soon. Mir, Justin Schilling, and Madison Baldwin. Hannah, a freshman, was delineated as an all-around happy person that competed in many sports. Tay, a junior, was remembered as an outstanding athlete as well as a hero in his last moments on earth. Justin, a senior, was described as being an empathetic, bright, and strong-willed person. As well, senior Madison was described as a beautiful, talented, and a sweet-natured young lady. Oxford, you are not alone, and we will support you throughout this tragedy. Everyone in Dearborn is here for you, and we will support you through everything. As we all are feeling and getting through this tragic event, I ask that you please go home, hug your loved ones close, tell them you love them frequently, and never take anything for granted. As we all are feeling, we also ask that any student struggling and in need of help, please speak up whenever feasible. It is always best to be safe rather than sorry. Our heartfelt condolences go out to everyone who has been impacted by this tragedy. Thank you for coming out and for showing support for our Oxford family. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noor. Next up, I'd like to invite Cedra from Henry Ford Early College.
Good evening. There is a fear that we are going to be next. A fear this cycle won't ever come to an end. A fear it could have easily been us instead. With just thoughts and prayers, these fears can easily become a reality. Thoughts and prayers without action won't push us towards ending this cycle. Depression, anxiety, isolation are all valid feelings our own peers and even some of us feel. Those who feel alone and isolated don't care about gun policy, heightened security, or political office. They care about being heard. They care about being included, about feeling like they matter. Today, we are not alone. We are together and united, and moments like these remind us that we need each other. The once strangers standing to the right and left of you now share the same feelings as you, the same fear, and the same worry. By simply checking up on your peers, these feelings of loneliness can slowly fade. A simple solution is a powerful one if everyone plays a part. Our thoughts and prayers are with Oxford, and new policy and change are with Oxford. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, thank you guys for bearing with us. I know it's cold out. We have two more speakers. Next up is Police Chief Ron Haddad.
Good evening. Karam, I'd like to invite you right up here. All these brave students, come right up here. Mariam, you're the star of the show today. Sorry, you got to live up with that. I want to commend, congratulate, and thank the students. Karam, you were the first guy I heard of after the Oxford shooting. So you guys were on the front end of this. I'm really angry what Mariam said, that you go to school in fear. That angers me. So I'm asking all of you, don't succumb to the fear. Don't go to school in fear. Go in purpose. Go with the cause. I was warned not to talk about the Second Amendment, so I won't. But I can tell you that every shooting, someone knew that was going to happen. The Boston bombers, their classmates got charged. Somebody knew that that was going to happen. Every mass shooting in America, with the exception of the Unabomber, somebody knew something was going to happen. So don't walk in fear, walk with purpose and courage. And we have to be careful. We don't want to turn into the bullies. We don't want to accuse people falsely. But if someone is having a hard time, someone is teetering on violence, someone makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, you need to get them help. I've had people tell me I would do anything if that could have been averted in Oxford. All you have to do is be courageous enough to take steps that make sure that never happens. I can tell you here in Dearborn, at least 5 times in my tenure, students, parents, administrators, in a place of worship called because somebody was teetering on violence. I can't tell you what may have happened, but I can tell you what didn't happen. No one got hurt, and we got those young people some help. So tonight, don't walk in fear. Don't be afraid, but walk united. And the whole world is watching what happened here tonight. About a month ago, I did an interview, and I said, for some questions about the Second Amendment, I said, there'll come a time in America when the Senate and the Congress will elect people with courage, with fortitude, and with moral compass, and they'll change what needs to be changed in the laws. And that's coming. But we have to be a good example today, stick together, be courageous, and do what's right. And I want to commend every one of you. In closing, let me say that I too have friends and relatives out in Oxford, so I send my condolences to them. And the council president mentioned about our officers coming to your building. We come as friends, and we're going to keep coming and make sure that you're safe. And just look at us as friends, role models, and people trying to learn from you. So thank you for being here. Thanks to all our elected officials. And before I forget, I heard from Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. She couldn't be here, but she sent Ahmed in her stead here. So we thank her for always standing with us. God bless you and have a great night.
Thank you, Chief. Now I'd like to invite everybody. The middle table right over there, we have candles. If you can all make one line, we'll distribute the candles, and then we'll begin to light them.
Exactly, yes.
I don't know if they're going to stay lit.
Your white work van, they stayed with the park there for a few days. They would like to check. Thank you.
How's it going?
Good. We're just trying to like use
Well,
the wind.
You want to carry the table into the vestibule and see if you can light them.
Do that?
That's feel my concern.
It'll be smart.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bad thing. What if you put those right there, lit them real quick? The one we bring them out. Yeah, I know. The wind's going to take off. I know.
Thank you very much. No, little brother, Mr. Brother, صغير. But still small. Oh, I thank you very much. I'm gonna put in because thank you. إضاءة الشموع في هذه المناسبة الحزينة، ومستمرين ننقل لكم الصورة من وساد ميديا شو الأخبار تيفي. نحاول نطلع ونقرب يعني إضاءة الشموع على الأرواح والضحايا في حادث اوكسفورد جولاي ميشيغان.
Just so everybody knows, I know we're having some difficulties with the candles staying up. It looks like most of you have gotten yours lit. We now have a candle, so you can use that to light, or if you prefer to just use your phone flashlight, you can do that as well. Also, I just want to thank a few people who are here today. If I miss you, please let me know. We have Wayne County Commissioner Sam Baydoun, Dearborn City Councilwoman Leslie Herrick, and Dearborn City Councilman-elect Kamal Sawafi. So thank you guys for being here. Also, Congresswoman Debbie Dingell is on her way here to say a few words, so she'll be here shortly.
إضاءة الشموع على أرواح الضحايا في مدرسة اوكسفورد ولاية ميشيغان.
I took a video. I'll show you a video. People wanted the video. Yeah, a lot of people wanted the video. A lot of people. Yeah. Everybody.
Also, we'd like to thank the Dearborn Police Department, specifically Corporal Isa, Lieutenant Papesco, Chief Haddad for all their support and for allowing us to host the vigil here.
Great job, Kenny.
Thank you very much.
I just can't keep it. What's it gonna I gave the girl. Do you have more? Well? Almost. Okay, bye. Jumper. Okay, bye.